fellow gamers, I'm Gloryhound, and this is the lovely Dr. Gloryhogg staring off into space.
That's what I do.
Do you see the light out there?
Yeah, they're on the left and the right.
On the left and the right. Yeah,
right just... It's not hard to find.
And hello to our chat today. It looks like we have Omar in chat, Ron, Andrew. We have Jim in chat, Battle Cry. Let's see here. Petter, Studio Lanniston. Hello to all of you out there.
Jim
How are you doing?
Jim is secretly in chat.
He's lurking. He's going to have to lead a meeting. So everybody give Jim the fingers crossed for this, for his leading the meeting, okay? Going forward. Hello, R2D2 fan. So today we got a lot of Kickstarters to talk about. Let's see here. How's the shoulder doing? The shoulder hurts. It's bad. I don't like it, Petter.
Should I show them?
No, don't touch. Don't touch.
It's no good.
So I went to the doctor. They're sending me to an orthopedic person, which I have not been able to see yet because I haven't got the referral. Because you know how the American healthcare system is, okay?
Petter doesn't. Petter has like moose healthcare or something.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. It's not
just
good.
Goes out to USDA or something. I don't know how that works.
It's not as bad as it was a few weeks ago, but I wish I could get a robot arm. 100%. I would get a robot arm if I was able to do that. But
I would only get a robot arm if it either A, looked super jacked, or B, looked super like regular. It's got to be one or the other. I want it to look super jacked, like I've been weightlifting, or
just the one big arm. It's
or smaller. Like smaller than my normal arm, so that people don't expect me to just knock them out with this metallic arm. It's got to be one or the other.
One M. Night Shyamalan
that guy?
Thing
no,
with
not,
the one
not
big
as
arm and the one tiny arm?
The guy just lifts with one arm? No.
Oh, the next Bionic Woman. Absolutely. So it's been a while since I could join a live session, but still catching up on December content on YouTube. Nice to have you here, Patrick.
Well, lucky for you, December was a light month, so...
It was.
You'll be able to catch up quick, is what I'm saying. It's our lightest month.
All right, first up, we have Rise of the Necromancers.
Which has like the best, if you haven't seen the trailer, you should watch it after the show because of the voiceover. It reminded me a lot of playing that old PlayStation game like Overlord, where you run around with little minions and something. Or even
that was
like
such a good game.
Or like the Skylanders voice,
Freaking
the evil guy, Chaos.
That's so good.
It's the same voice actor who does, it's similar. The same voice actor who does Invader Zim too.
I wish they would remaster that Overlord game.
Yeah,
because that was
great.
So much fun to play. Like just sending out the minions and everything. That was amazing.
You collect up a bunch of like little goblins and stuff and send them out.
The Lady in the Water, the M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong movie. Yes, absolutely.
That's
that one.
The one.
That's the one. Okay. So in this game here, this is a combined effort by Sore Loser Games and Mythic Games in this. So they're doing a
Phoenix
reprint.
Line.
Yeah. Their Phoenix line, which is that rebirth of these games and putting it out there. Basically, Mythic Games is coming in here, possibly sometimes changing art, making little changes here and there to things, which I believe they're making a whole new game board for this one here, Underwater.
Yeah, one of the expansions is completely new. Plus, it looks like they added cooperative. Is this the one that added solo? They add solo to this one?
It is one to 5 players in about 90 minutes.
I don't know if it was solo before.
This game here, although it's very vast looking, it's actually quite quick to play. Sorry, Doc, but you're not the only ones I need to watch. How dare you, Patrick? You can't talk about other YouTubers in our presence.
I mean, it happens. I know there's other people out there. I don't know who they are, but they are out there, I guess.
I know that somebody, too, was talking about this particular game. You were saying that they were really excited about it. Was it Studio Lanniston?
Yeah.
Why are you so excited about this game? I really want to know, do you have the previous game at home? Does it drive you because of certain aspects in it? I'm curious.
The overall theme is really awesome because you come out as like this lowly lich with your just like not so good apprentice, and you're trying to use card combos and moving around and collecting resources and bodies and souls and all this different stuff to kind of build up and eventually like run the academy, do all these different things to trigger an end game. And it's got an end game trigger similar to like Scythe, where once you get the X amount of objectives done, that triggers end game and the game is over and you win. So it is a race. Wasteland Express Delivery Service is the same way. Like once you complete 3 objectives,
absolutely.
I think this one's like 13 objectives you need to complete. But once you collect all 13 of them, you can just go.
So Studio Lanniston says, I already own the game, Dawn and Demons, and it was a surprising hit for me. It's very approachable, but not too simplistic. That is what I liked about this, because going through, you're actually watching the playthrough on this game, and they have like the cutest kid in there doing the playthrough and everything. I was like, this little man, like I'm rooting for him in this playthrough. But the turns went pretty fast. Like it was pretty easy.
Right, because it seems like you are basically either like playing some cards, which that's where all the kind of cool combo stuff happens. Because if you get enough cards in the right school, or if you get enough items in the right type, then you can unlock objectives, right? But you're either going to collect resources, you're going to like move and collect resources, or you collect resources. There's not like a ton to do on your turn. It's not like there's like 15 different things you can do.
Yeah, you're going to be choosing like something where it's like, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and deploy this, you know, zombie or something like that. And then it's like, all right, well, your actions are done, turns over. Or, okay, I'm moving over here, I'm going to attack this person. All right, actions are over. Like you're doing, you may have some, a plethora of choices, but you are doing like very minimal stuff each turn as you're going, because you're not doing every single action every single turn.
Now I want to tell you about what I don't like about this, I think. Or the part I think that, because this week was a really interesting week. So we don't talk beforehand. I might say like, are you interested in, which ones are you interested in? And she'll be like, oh, there's one or two, but that's all I know. So I was interested. And this one was really high up on my list. And this week, I could have potentially backed all four. So I really was trying to find reasons like not to back something. I was like, okay, because I don't want to back all four. That's just, I personally don't like backing them. Right, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of games on our table, so I don't want to back just to back.
Like a $169 sort of pledge game that you're going to be
this
going
one's,
on with
you can
this
get
year.
it for $79.
Okay.
I think $79 is a Necromancer pledge that still gives you the stretch goals.
Right.
And that's like your best buy-in probably, if you don't already have it, of course. I believe this was the one that was like $79 for that. So I was really interested in it. The thing I think that throws me off, or the thing I'm worried about, is that when you go to collect a resource, you go to like the location and you roll a die to collect it.
Yeah, I saw that.
So you can get a big resource, you can get a small, so you can get like some bones, or you could get like a big body. And I feel like that would make this something that you would not enjoy as much, because you don't know what you're getting.
Right.
And I know you don't like that. And so I know you don't like too much randomness or too much derivative. I know you like to make a plan.
I do.
So if you go to a place and you
especially in games like this.
Right, and if you go to that's a race.
Yes.
So I could see that if you went to a place and you rolled something and you didn't get the body parts you wanted, I could see that being like a deterrent for you, something that would make it less fun for you.
I just want to be the sea necromancer right here. Who, like the art that they did for the sea portion of this game is amazing looking. Look at this. Like I want to play this one. I want to be into the sea. It's like the Little Mermaid, but evil.
But evil, right?
Evil.
Which I think that's something you really enjoy, is the overall theme of it.
I absolutely do in this game. And I just want to throw this out here too really quick.
Okay.
So I went ahead and put up a simple poll in our Discord. So if you are interested in joining our Discord, you can go in there and actually vote on all of these games here that we're going to talk about today. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, like this video, and I think that's all the other little things. So for this game here, I'm super interested in the theme. I love the fact that you're moving across the map, you're attacking other people, you're throwing down your minions that you're wanting to take over things.
Which give you bonuses, right?
And yeah, which give you bonuses, but I do, in the end, don't like that particular dice rolling thing. But I do feel like it's a small part, like a smaller part.
It's how you get your resources, though, which is, for me, is really important. Like, I can roll with it, but I know that going into it, I can't take it as seriously as I would something like a side, because I know that I don't know what I'm going to get every time.
Yeah.
And you could potentially get something that you just don't need at the wrong time, and that could really make you feel like, oh, man, I could have won this if that last roll would have gone differently.
It's hard because I like this game so much. So Sean says, thank you for this. I'm really thinking of backing this, but that would kind of turn me off as well. Right. So
that's like the only thing, though, that I think that worries me.
There's so much good in it. I'm like, dang it. Can I like put this one mechanic aside and be like, well, that mechanic's going to be what it's going to be for me? Like, I don't know.
I'm worried, though, because since it is a race, if it was just building the best tableau, I think you could probably get around it, because you could just work with what you've got. But if it's a race and I beat you by like one objective, and you're thinking, man, if I would have been able to build like that skeleton dragon last turn, if I would have rolled differently, I would have won instead. I think that would really make all the time we put into it feel like wasted or discarded, if you will.
Here's why I love our chat too, right here. So Studio Landison, who has played the game at home, which our chat is a wealth of knowledge, because we get everybody from all over that's played all sorts of different things, and it's so lovely. I love you, chat, so much. So if you conquer 3 cities and you get to visit one of them, you'd get the resources that all three get.
So that does help.
So that does help take care of that.
But your early game, you're going to be rolling dice to get resources.
Otherwise, you have to take a chance on a dungeon or that simple dice rolling space.
Right. And I think that's more in the beginning, probably, before you've got enough to take over cities. But at the very beginning of the game, you're going to be rolling die to get resources. Also,
there are item cards where you can tax your cities and get extras. So although this is a smaller mechanic, it does sound like there are workarounds throughout the game that you're able to do. And I don't know.
But if that kid rolls in there and just gets everything they need every single time.
I would be so upset.
I'm trying to think of what game it was that they just rolled. And they were like weaker in all aspects, but they just rolled perfect every time. And you were just like, yeah, I guess you win. Yeah, I guess you win this battle too.
Also, the BGG score for this is a 7.4. So this is
That's not bad.
It's pretty highly rated out there. Everybody seems to like it quite a bit and everything. And I'm super down with all the extra stuff. And you know that Mythic Games is going to do an excellent job with the miniatures that you have going in here. They have an they do an excellent job with all of the art in a game.
They also even have a box where you can have specialized miniatures for each different necromancer and stuff. That's another thing you can add on.
I love that Mythic Games is picking up these games that probably didn't get as much
they just didn't have a big publisher behind them.
Right, they didn't have a big publisher behind them to iron out any tiny little details and kind of pump things up a little bit more. I'm really, really excited about that. I'm excited about this Phoenix line that they have going on here. So let's see here. I guess shared hive mind also comes with a shower thoughts, Petter. Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
That also happens with the shared hive mind.
And thank you for stopping by, Dave. I'm glad you were able to be here for a while.
Absolutely.
Once again, I just want to reiterate, I am definitely looking for reasons to not back this week. Because I could back all four and be happy. So I'm really I'm being really nitpicky. And that's also because a lot of the games we backed over the last 2 years have started showing up, too. We just threw Uprising, Unsettled, Dino World, Aqua Garden. We have a big table full of games right now. So I feel like I'm being a little bit more choosy. But in the end, if you're not able to back all these like most people aren't, then this might be a good resource for you.
Right.
Things that might work for you, might not. I think that's the biggest turnoff for me though, is that early dice rolling to get resources part. And it does seem like it is a longer game. But other than that, I think the theme looks great. I think this is one for me though that I'd have to play to see how much that really affects me, right?
I feel like, too, we went ahead and...
I would play it for sure.
Did a Kickstarter show on the first time this came out, I feel like.
Oh, really?
I feel like we did, or at least we talked about it or something, because I remember this theme of being the Necromancer and coming through across the map and kind of throwing all your minions out across the map and everything and taking over. And I was interested in that. Well, I'm just interested in that theme, just overall.
Yeah, no, the theme is really good. That's what I really like about Dead Man's Cabal, is that it's, you're a necromancer trying to throw a party, so you raise a bunch of people from the dead.
You have a party with all your dead friends, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this is where you recognize the addict. We just got a bunch showing up instead of playing it and backing off. You start to back more again. Well,
that's part of what we're doing this for you. Okay.
We go through all the time.
I can stop anytime I want.
All of the torment for all of you out there. This is strictly for you on why we're backing these games. I don't even like games. I mean, we do it for all of you, okay?
I only have 4 games, tops. So at Studio Lane, it says this thing says something that we'd probably enjoy. Yeah. I feel like it's something that I'd probably enjoy too, but I think I want to feel it in action. I don't feel like I want to slap $100 in on the table today for it. I want to try to see how that affects it, because I don't want... will it compete with something like a Scythe? Very different games, of course, especially in theme and everything. But will I feel like it competes with something like that? Is it going to replace something on my shelf? Because we are very much at the point where we've got 2 5x5 calyxes filled top to bottom, and then 2 2x4s that are full, plus a kitchen table that's full. We have to really think about space. Is this game good enough that it's going to replace something else with a similar mechanic?
Absolutely.
Right? Because we just went through and purged another 5 games just to get some more games that we had just learned onto our shelf.
Yeah.
And so sometimes there's a good rotation going on. But it's healthy, I think, to know when your time with a game is done and move on. Because there are some games that you get early on that you play a lot, and then you realize, I'm probably not going to ever go back to this one, or I like the way they did this mechanic better, right?
There's a lot of really good questions coming up in chat. So does it play well at 2 players? And Studio, have you played Dark Domains, and how does it compare? Those are fantastic questions. So yes, it works well at 2, and the boards are double-sided, so 2 or 3 map isn't so big, which is huge because, I don't know, like it just shows that
They
the company,
thought ahead.
exactly, the company has taken time to actually scale down that map to a place that will put players in the same area, in conflict with each other, as well as like.
Because there's nothing worse than being on a big map,
and then
you're on the left side, I'm on the right
space.
side, and we just don't even interact. We're just like, bye.
You have all these like little X things you have to put all over the board at the beginning. Like you're like, not in this area, not in that area.
That doesn't bother me as much, but it does definitely make a difference if they've scaled the map down for player counts.
Doctor, would you back this game?
This is one I really want to play, but I would have to play it first, I think, at this point, because I am looking for reasons not to back at this point.
Chat, would you back this game? Our simple poll says that Studio Lanniston, Omar, would also back this game in our poll on Discord. I would love to back this game so much.
I know. I figured as much.
Come on.
I really feel
Come
like...
Come on. You get to be an evil overlord. Like, it has some area control aspects to it where you're trying to get these cities involved and everything.
Like I said,
you can make evil monsters.
I could be convinced. Maybe we can find a copy of it to play. But for me, at this point, I would have to try it before I could just jump in on it. Because this is one that, if I did like it, I'd want to go in for one of the higher packages.
Well, absolutely, because I told you I want this, like, evil Little Mermaid set where I get to be the undead necromancer of the sea.
I just want to make sure it's something that we're going to play enough that it makes sense, though.
Can make a song about it.
Right, because there's been a lot of games that we've gotten recently that I'm glad that we kind of went in at the entry level because realistically, we're not going to play it 10 times in, like, a 3-month period where we're, like, going to need to add a bunch of expansions and stuff.
Omar says, did back it already. So it's, you have the base and first expansion. Fantastic. So Patrick says, intrigued by the theme, but I can't really place it in gameplay-wise. And Petter says, Gloryhound, why do you want to play your real life? Because I'm not as powerful in real life. I need more, like, superpowers. Which the doctor says I should not ever get superpowers because it would be bad news.
That's the end of humanity right there.
Yeah, it would be bad news.
You'd
but I do want more superpowers.
What was her name? Was it
to make this
Suicide Squad? What was the evil witch's name?
Fruition.
Was it like Hex or something?
In Suicide Squad, that was Enchantress.
Oh, Enchantress.
Yeah, Enchantress.
Yeah, that's you in a nutshell. Just like, I'm just gonna poison humanity. Just gonna slowly do that.
So next up, we have CoLab. This is a relaunched game. This is by Portal Dragon. It's for 1 to 4 players. It should last about 90 to 120 minutes. Doctor, do you want to talk a little bit about this game at all?
Yeah, this one's interesting. This is a mad scientist game. What makes this unique is it's a dice placement, and when you place, you are going to not only like the benefits of your space, but like the minions to the left and the right of you also. So there's a lot of
so much going
building
on.
And timing things right. And it's also a lot like Raiders of the North Sea, where when you place something down, you'll get an action, and then you have to pick up a minion to bring back, and you'll get an action from that also. Plus, which I like that a lot, where you place here, you do this thing, and then I got to pull something back, so I'm going to pull. So it makes you, I mean, you're getting 2 actions essentially. And then you got to like place a dice every time you go into the minion, like every time you put the minion out.
Of different tableau building. You have like where you're trying to make machines, you're trying to put all your monsters together.
Not only is it tableau building, but it's also like what's to the left and the right of you is going to affect the card in the middle.
Right.
So yes, tableau building.
And then this part here where you can start upgrading everything to make that section of the board like better as you're going along.
There's they added a co-op. There's a cooperative and like a solo play where you can, if you're playing at a lower player count, you can add in somebody in just to kind of mess with you, I believe. This
was a game that, like, when I looked at it, I'm like, oh, okay, this is kind of cute. And then the more and more stuff, like, the more I started looking at this, I was like, oh, wait, you can do this? Oh, wait, you can do that? I was like, oh my gosh, but then they added this. I was like, what the heck is happening? Like, there's so many ways to manipulate this tiny, tiny board. Because originally when I saw this, I thought, this is going to be a tiny, cute game that's going to be easy to play. And then I looked into it and I was like, no. This is full of huge amounts of complexity, and I don't think people realize how unique this game is.
Very much like a Raiders of North Sea or something. There's some real brain-burning moments where you're like, I'm going to place this here to get this, and now where do I want to pull back from, and what is that going to leave my opponent? And then you add in like kind of like that Everdell aspect where you're building your tableau out, where you're like, okay, well, if I build this, I set it next to this one, how is that going to trigger? Is that going to be better for me, or should I put it down here? Where do I need to put these cards to make my engine the most optimal? So when you add in a worker placement, engine building, tableau building style game, that's like 100% the mechanics I love.
Absolutely.
Just throw some deck building in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you're good.
I love that part of putting the little tableau building together and then having everything go off of each other and everything in this. And so
I like that you get the stuff from the minions next to you too, because that makes it where the board feels dynamic and fresh, and you kind of have to see what other people are doing, right? Which I like thinking on my feet. I like games that force you to go, well, what's best off of how the board changed now? I really enjoy that. So, I know you like to pre-plan out multiple turns. I like going, it's my turn now. What's the best thing I can do based off what I see in front of me?
This game actually has a designer pedigree too. I don't know if you looked this up. So this is made, one of the people who is the designer on this is Jonathan Gilmour. It's Jonathan Gilmour and John Meatling. So Jonathan
Gilmour's
Gilmour
done everything.
Has done, Dead of Winter, Dino Island, Wasteland Express, Flick 'em Up. He's done Path. Like
Path of Light and Shadow.
Every single one of those games are games we love.
Yeah, we pretty much have all of those.
I think we do.
Dinosaur Island is the only one we don't have, but we have Duelosaur Island and Dino World.
Right, absolutely. So like...
And Roar and Ride. We have everything but Dinosaur Island.
When I saw all the complex mechanics happening in here, and then like I saw the designers based on this, I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be a game that is fantastically put together, not something that's going to necessarily be like, there's too many things going in here. Like they've done this stuff before, they've thought about it in in the complexity in many, many different games that they've done. So it just made me more excited about this game. I'm so freaking excited about this game,
So I will say the nice thing about this one is you can play it on tabletop. I think Tabletop Sim or something. You can play it somewhere. And
both of them, Tabletop Sim and Tabletopia.
Okay. I know Studio Landon's saying, is this already this genre already gonna be covered by Monsters on Board and My Father's Work? Monsters on Board, maybe there's going to be like some kind of a feeling crossover because of the Mad Scientist. Nothing compares to this. My Father's Work. My Father's Work is very much a worker placement narrative style game. There's nothing like My Father's Work that I've played that wasn't like a campaign style game.
So comparatively between all of them, so Monsters on Board, if I remember correctly, is more of like a race, right? Wasn't it? I think it was.
There's some aspects like this where you're moving stuff around on the board and everything.
This one here is more about utilizing the tableau building and the placement.
Yes.
And then My Father's Work is about story and worker placement. Like primarily worker placement and then story right on top of that. So the three, although they have the same sort of mad science theme to them, they are
very different.
Very, very vastly different.
I would also say a night where you're going to sit down and play My Father's Work is going to be a completely different night than when you sit down to play something like CoLab. Because they're just, this is like goofy fun. This is like, was it Monsters? I know it was like DreamWorks or Pixar did a series where it was like the 50-foot tall woman was named like Susan, and it was like the Blob, and it's like Monsters versus Aliens or something like that came out for a while. It's very much more in that style where, I mean, it's kind of silly, goofy stuff. Where My Father's Work, when you're getting a corpse, you're getting a coffin. Like, you're picking up a coffin. It's a little bit more serious and very much story-based. So I just feel like they're very different. And My Father's Work is going to probably take you 3 hours. Where
absolutely.
This should not take that long. This is probably like an hour and a half,
Definitely different feels to the game. So Patrick says, again, intriguing stuff, but pretty wacky, and it seems risky to back without having played it. Does that make sense? That's where the kind of like the Tabletopia and stuff like that comes in. And
I think if you like games like Raiders of the Lost Sea or something, though, you'll probably end up liking this because it is a worker placement. It's got a tableau building, something similar to like Elverdale or something.
I love it being on Tabletopia, and because it shows that the company is like, okay, like this game is fully made. Like we can show it to people. Like you can play it, and everything is there. They're not like finishing up details or anything like that. Like 95% of the game is there. They might make a little tweak here and there, but you know you're going to get what you're going to get usually.
Now, the one thing I'll say about this, because people are talking about deluxe versus not, I think the difference is $15. The deluxe comes with plastic holders for the minions that are going to hold the die.
Deluxe is where it's at.
The other one's going to come with cardboard. Now, I don't mind cardboard standees for the characters, but cardboard standees for the minions that's going to hold the die. A piece of cardboard, like 3 pieces of cardboard, like, Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea style that you put together and put a die in, is a completely different feel than a plastic dice holder that you move around. It's going to feel very different.
Jolly says, I was just thinking about getting HP Lovekins. I know, right? So cute. Hello, Glory Mom. How are you doing? Between these two here, it's hard not to go for the deluxe edition in this.
Right, because you don't really need the miniatures, but I feel like the minion miniatures being little dice cup things, because you're going to be picking them up and moving. And remember, that's what you're going to put down and pick up every single turn. do you want to do that with little pieces of cardboard that are kind of pushed together, or do you want to do that with an actual miniature? And I think that makes the difference for the deluxe versus the not.
Plus, I need this HP Lovekins little plushie. I need one of these in my life. Like,
yeah.
Who doesn't need a cute little Cthulhu kitty?
I don't need the mats, right? Or
I don't need the mats, but I need Cthulhu kitty.
But I feel like since you're picking them up and stuff, like I know you can do it without, but I've had other games that have had press cardboard that you have to move around a lot, and sometimes they fall apart, or you got to glue them, or they get kind of scuffed up or torn, or they get messed up while you're making them. Is it doable? Yes. Is it my favorite thing? No, definitely not.
So with this one here, how do you feel about these little trays that almost look like game trays, Doctor?
Oh yeah, those little things, the little dice bowls. They are little dice bowls.
But they do come with the game, and that's kind of cool that they do come there, and you have your little dice bowls that you can put in there as an upgrade. Yeah. Now this is its second time coming to Kickstarter because it didn't fund the first time.
Yes.
And wasn't there somebody else like talking about this game?
I think this was on Quackalope's list of games that were a disappointment because it didn't fund.
Because it didn't fund. His games of disappointment, everyone. Trixie.
Because it didn't fund. Well, the rest of them were games that he was excited about that just didn't do what he thought. But that one there was a couple games that they mentioned that were like games that they really liked that didn't fund. Right, that they got a chance to play the demos of, or they had pre-production copies and whatnot.
So Petter says, actually, I like the non-mini version better in terms of the aesthetic appeal. Wow, I'm not going to be able to talk.
I could see
Apologies.
that. Like I said, with the miniatures, I could see using the standees for the players.
Okay.
But for the actual moving around the minions, I don't want to be moving around pieces of cardboard that are stuck together versus moving around actual plastic miniatures.
Doctor, would you back this game?
Yes.
Chat, are you backing this game? Our poll on Discord says that actually nobody's backing this game. That's really interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
I think this is like, honestly, a diamond in the rough, everyone. I think this is going to be exciting on it. But like...
I'm pumped for it.
I'm really pumped for this. And
I like that idea of how you're playing it, for sure. And you can see, Board Game Spotlight did a playthrough of it that you can see. You can see what it looks like in action if you're like not convinced.
Right.
But I think if you like those type of worker placement games, and actually going through my list, I don't have a lot of worker placement games that are just pretty much worker placement. Most of them now are combined. And this is worker placement with engine tableau building. And I like both those mechanics a lot.
At this point, I think I'm going to go on to Tabletopia and
maybe just try a little bit.
Just try a little bit and stuff. But right now, at this point, I'm 100% sold on this. Like I want to purchase this game.
Right.
It looks exciting. It looks like it's not just your, oh, okay, I'm going to place here and get some stuff. You're going to be able to build things on the board. You're going to build things in front of you. You're going to actually build your bad guy weapons. Like it's, there's a lot going on.
The art's really cool too. Like the art's really good. Like you can get like Audrey the plant and stuff. It's hilarious. But besides the art, because we try not to buy a game just because of art, even though it does look really good.
I know.
I think the fact that it's a dice placement makes a big difference too, compared to just rolling dice for random.
So Studio Liniston says, I wish I could back any old game I feel a desire for or like in 2019.
Gotta be so picky now.
I totally understand.
Full shelves, low budget. We definitely understand that. That's why I said when I went through all four of these, I had to find reasons not to back them.
At this point, we're basically going, because it's a good list this week, like a real good list this week, everyone, okay? But you don't usually get this many really good games this early in the year.
Right, usually it's like maybe one or two.
Usually you have one or two and you're like, oh yeah, I want to back those. But yeah, no, this is really good. Hello, Kabuki. So next up we have Skytear Horde. Now, Skytear Horde, this is by Skytear Games. This can be done in a 1 to 2 solo or co-op mode, or 2 to 3 in a competing mode.
Right, where you can have one person play as the bad guy, basically, while the other two try to hold them off.
This one here reminds me a lot of something like you would do in Hearthstone or like a Magic the Gathering or something like that.
And they'd have like the challenge decks and stuff.
Right, exactly.
Well, it very much is to a certain degree. It's lane battling card game where, your lane is going to attack the lane below it and so forth. And then there's minions and you're trying to block with your people while powering them up, defeating their minions, trying to get through to their castle. Then their big bad guy comes out and they take up 2 spots. So they get a double attack, essentially. It is very much that style. I mean, it is a tower defense style game. It also reminds me of something almost like Aliens Encounter. Like, remember how Aliens Encounter worked? Where, the stuff would come down?
Right, and then it was...
That was like a survival-y game where the cards would come down and you had to, stop the eggs. We really liked that one.
It resembles more like that than anything else, I think, honestly.
Right, because
after looking at it.
Art it has the art style of like a Hearthstone.
Of like a Hearthstone, but it's not.
Online card game, right?
Yeah.
Like Light Seekers, Hearthstone.
Yeah.
It definitely has that style
has some
of
aspects
art.
of it, but yeah, no,
Well,
that's a good comparison of the encounters.
But it is very much more like these cards are coming down to get you. Now, with encounter games, legendary encounter ones, like Alien stuff, they would kind of go down a track and kind of come at you to hit you.
Yeah.
This one's going to be more like them in lanes coming down. So almost more like Gruff has the lanes. I'm trying to think of the other card game we saw recently had that lanes.
Lane one, yeah, absolutely.
That has the lanes. So I really like the art.
I was going to say.
I really like the different, there's
this
like
is usually your jam.
decks. So here's the only thing.
Okay.
I worry that this is a game, since it's cards and it's complex and everything, I'd have a hard time playing this with you.
Yeah.
Because of me. I would have a hard time relinquishing control and making a plan with you in this type of game. I would just want to play it myself. I would already have downloaded this if it was an app.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If it was an app for like 15, 20 bucks, I would have already downloaded it because I think it's interesting enough. I just think I'd have a hard time with the Aliens Encounter, the Legendary Aliens Encounter style one. It was survival. You're going to probably die, right? And you needed multiple people. It was more like a pandemic where you needed people to help to do things. With this one, since it's so lane-based and stuff, I feel like trying to work with another person, if you were trying to play it two-player, would be tough.
Yeah.
I'd almost rather play this like against you and the kid or something like that where we play like one person plays the bad guy, the other person plays like the other team, because I'd have a really hard time with, I think, relinquishing control when there's a bunch of complex card interactions going on. Mm-hmm. What's interesting about this, though, is, and there's all kinds of different versions of it. There's a retail version, there's a deluxe version with a magnetic box and everything, is with this game, you don't draw cards. You don't draw cards.
You don't draw cards.
No. So when you get hit, you lose cards.
Okay.
But you don't draw cards. You have to earn them from defeating other minions and stuff.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought it was like a normal where you got your deck out here and you go through it.
And you just get cards and you play. You don't get to just go, I'm going to spend 7 cards to wipe out this line of minions. You're like, I better kill this minion to get cards that hopefully will let me kill the next one.
Well, that's interesting.
That makes it a lot more complex.
So honestly, like with these types of games, I always leave these up to you because I know that you are so much more invested in these sort of games.
Yeah, you can tell I'm like upset about it. I'm like, oh,
right,
man.
Exactly. And so I always rely on you to tell me what's better in this, because although I like playing these games sometimes, these are sometimes games for me. And in this one here, I'm like, yeah, okay, like it's cute, but. And this is their second one, too, just as a note. So it was Skytear, and now it's Skytear Horde, right?
Right, well, the other one was a MOBA.
Oh, the other was a MOBA. Never mind.
And that one did well.
Yeah.
That one did well. So, I don't know. I'm on the fence with the one. Since you can get it for like $30, I might get the retail, right? Because it's $30.
That's fair. That's the other thing, is like,
it's
the
like
starting to get this in is... It's so inexpensive. It's like, can I go ahead and just take a chance on this?
Since it's a card game,
right?
Do you need the mats? Do you need everything else? Because we're at the point now where we just have 2 mini mats. So unless the mats really do something to help the game out, I don't want it because I don't want to store it.
Studio Lanniston says, I think, Gloryhound, if this was Radlands, you'd probably go for Radlands. If it was this or Radlands.
Very different, though, because Radlands we're attacking each other.
And plus...
This is something we would play more like on a date night, where something like Radlands is something we play just kind of like for fun. Because like we don't usually play competitive games on a date night.
Yeah, it's like a quick little, okay, get in here and...
So that's the big difference. I do
like Radlands a lot,
I do like the fantasy art style of this.
Here's the thing.
This is us playing cooperatively, though.
So I play Magic the Gathering. I don't play it as much as you do or anything like that, right? But I have to be like excited about these types of games and like what I'm playing. Like, because
we both played Hearthstone a lot.
Right. I still want that.
But we did cut that tie.
RPG sort of feel, or like this interest to get me into it.
So you need more than just the puzzle of it.
So like my favorite part of playing Magic the Gathering is not only the fact that I can go in there and be like, oh, okay, I have this awesome deck and I can build this deck and it's going to be amazing. But I also like being like, oh, okay, now I have Liliana, now I'm Ileana. And, you know, I'm the planeswalker here, and then I have all my rats that I have here, and they're going to be my rat army. And so, like, I start building this stuff behind it. Yeah. And I don't know if it's because, like, I don't have any emotion towards the lore in this. For me, it just, like, dulls it a little bit, you know? Because I don't like those type of games as just straight card games, personally. I'm not saying that any of you shouldn't back it out there because of that. I'm just letting you know why I'm not as excited about it.
Where for me, pulling off a really nice card combo,
it's like you're like
or to Or even like Slay the Spire. The reason why I played Slay the Spire so much is I played it like nonstop because I wanted to unlock all the cards. And then once I unlocked all the cards, I slowed way down to where I barely play it now because for me the challenge was unlocking everything and figuring out how each character works. And once I mastered that to the point where I was like, okay, I can win this with this character, I didn't feel the need to keep going with it. I do like this comes with 8 pre-made decks so that you can make your own deck. You can play it against another person, like a 1 versus 2 type of situation. I do like that. It's tough because I am interested in it.
Right.
And for like $30, I really kind of want to pull the trigger on it. I would probably, honestly, to make my final decision, I'd read through some of the cards. I would have to read what the card text says to see if they're going to offer me...
It has good synergy, like that
Yes, because I know like some of the cards said... I saw some of like the elf-looking ones said ally, and then there's like some of the monster-looking ones that are like giants or something. Like I want to read them to see if I can see synergy between the cards that they show you to go, okay, with this deck, I'm going to want to go this route. With this deck, I want to go this route. But like I said, this is a solo or cooperative game, but I feel like the biggest thing for me would be like not becoming an alpha gamer and just trying to run everybody's turn for them playing this. Now I'd have to play it to see how it works with the 2-player. This is something I would actually probably play single player because I do like those card combo-y style games so much. So I'm still like, the only deterrent for me buying this immediately is I'm worried that I would just enjoy it more if it was just on my phone and I could just pick it up and play it whenever I wanted to versus having to go to the table, set it up and play. Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense.
Because I don't spend a lot of time. I don't spend a lot.
You don't do as much anymore.
I don't go out to the table and just put cards out. Right. And I'll sit down and play Magic with somebody, but I also found that I can play a lot more Magic by just jumping on my computer. Or I can play a lot of Slay the Spire by just doing it on my Switch at night. So there's like it's a lot easier to get to than having to shuffle decks, set it up, and then play it.
So Dale here says, I literally just checked in and here I go to spend some money.
You're welcome, Dale.
All for you out there. All for you, okay? Let's see here. Jolly Limpy says, with Magic, I enjoyed the building of a deck more than the playing. And Sean says, I love hearing both of your thoughts on this as I have gotten Kickstarter burned a few times. So
it happens. I think that our biggest thing is you never know with a game, right? Because there's been games we've got in, and I'll be candid with you. I do want to do a series where we talk about the games we got in and then the ones we moved on and why. Yeah. And the ones we kept and why. We just haven't been able to fit it in. Things have been busy. We've been trying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because everyone has a reason. There's been objectively good games that we've looked at each other. I will say this one again. What was the communist worker placement one?
Red Rising, I think it was.
No, Red Rising.
No, not Red Rising. It was Red something though.
Red Outpost?
Yeah, Red Outpost.
Was it Red Outpost?
I think it was Red Outpost. Yeah.
It was made by the Mayday Games owner that had a news thing. Mm-hmm. We played that game, and it was objectively a good game.
It was a good game.
But since the vast majority of the play was like, I'm going to use this worker, which is going to bump your worker down.
Well, it was a collective workers, but you also knew what people were going for, so you're like,
but there was that push-pull, right? Yeah. You could push somebody's worker to being disgruntled so they would give them negative points. Same thing happened with the Artemis Project, where it was dice placement, but the way you got your points was you would put a bigger dice in front of somebody and push them down, and then like the lower people got paid first, or something like that, so you could potentially steal all the resources so there's nothing there for you. We liked it, but it was... The gameplay was
too much
so
animosity
in your face.
Yeah, we were like,
Right. To play it 2-player, we just wouldn't do it.
If we're going to have a fun, like, game night, date night, whatever, I don't want to also be like, hold on, doctor.
Antagonistic.
What's that over there?
Yeah, stab you in the back.
Stab me right in the back. Because
we always make a joke
let's have a nice dinner.
Every time we've ever played Lords of Waterdeep, that inevitable betrayal card that you can play, that one dock card that's like inevitable betrayal where you like take something from somebody, like you give them you give them a goal, or you take a goal and complete it, something like that. You or I always play that the last round of the game on each other. And it always happens. If we're playing 4-player, 5-player, 3-player, doesn't matter. It always happens. It's always like, curse your, and we always make that joke, curse your inevitable betrayal, because it does always happen. So games that reward that mechanic, we don't play as much unless it is a straight up Radland style duel where we're just trying to beat each other up. Or like Super Fantasy Brawl, we're just trying to beat each other up. That's fine.
Would you back this game? Chat, would you back this game? In our poll on Discord here, we have Sir Hawkins went ahead and would back this game.
Okay.
Mandatory Quest. I think that was it.
It's the
Mandatory Quest,
Kabuki.
yeah. This one here, because I don't have any tie to the lore of it and everything, which at this point I feel like
there's an arcane and unknown power that strives to take over the world of Skytear, controlling hordes of monsters led by a dreadful elementals known as Outsiders. The legendary heroes from all of the realms have set aside their rivalries and forged an alliance to repel the common threat once and for all.
Yeah, since this game isn't necessarily my jam, and I mean, here's the thing, it's not that I don't like these games, because I like Vampire Rivals, and I'm like, I keep on getting expansion stuffs for that, and I'm like, I want to play more of that.
Marvel
which
Champions.
Is a card dueling game.
Marvel Champions is another cooperative card game that we haven't played enough. But I'm tied to the
characters in that, and that is just a thing based on me. So because I'm not as tied to the characters, I'm like, oh, this might have some good mechanics in it, but I'm not excited about it.
Rise of Necromancers, if it was just like fairies or knights collecting resources and trying to take over land, you'd be like,
I would not be as excited about that game, everyone.
Right. That makes a big difference.
If I was not an evil overlord, like, why are you even taking things over? I don't need it for the fairy nation. I need it for the dark ghoul nation, okay?
It's the being evil that really does it, right?
It is the being evil that really sells it for me in a game. So if I can be Ileana, sells it. The Rat Queen.
The thing with this game is the only reason I wouldn't back it is if I felt like it would be hard to play cooperatively, because I do want to be able to play it with you or with the kid and not feel like...
Which it does have those features,
I'm
so that's
taking
nice.
over that.
Yeah.
So that would be like a me thing I'd have to consider. That's the only thing stopping me from backing it. I want to read some of the cards. That's going to make my final decision. I would definitely back this, though, at $30.
$30, you'd take a chance.
Oh, for sure.
$30, everyone.
$30, like, is not that much in the Kickstarter world.
All you gotta do.
They've already produced other games on this lore, so there is probably other lore out there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So you don't have to worry about them producing it and everything. It's a card game. Card games almost always deliver on time or close to on time. And worst case scenario, $30, like, I mean, going to go see the movies with the three of us is $30. So it's not like it's that much to risk, right?
I always love that. When you really start looking at it, you're like, $30, yeah. That could be the movies. It could be like going out and eating dinner once. It's really not that much.
If I play it twice at an hour and a half, it's already giving me more value than a movie will.
Love is stab in the back. It says Battlecry. Sometimes you have to have a little bit of that to keep the relationship like the fog passionate. Of love. Yeah, like the fog of divorce. Okay, gotta have a little fog of divorce in there a little bit, and then you come out of it for the better, okay? Everybody learns something.
And these card games are hard for me because, like, I just recently got rid of Netrunner.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I got rid of Netrunner is because I've owned it for 8 years and I haven't played it. And I've heard it's good, but if I got rid of Deadwood because I don't play it enough, then I'm not going to keep Netrunner, which I'm less excited about the theme. And ultimately, I always end up just playing Magic. Whenever I have a friend come over that's going to play a card game, I just play Magic. So it's really hard to keep those other type of card games. This advantage this one has is that it is a cooperative, so at least we're working together.
Can you move your drink? Thank you so much.
Oh,
Thank you so much. It is in my way. I cannot see all the things I need to see on the computer.
So the advantage it has is that it's cooperative. I would have to I think I need to see how that looks in actual play. Like what there is to make it so that one person doesn't just say, you should play that minion.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Next up, we have Final Girl. This is by Van Ryder Games. It is a solo game as we're going through here. Oh, I just want to make sure I didn't write anything else down. It is still solo, right? They just did solo on this here. But it is their new... So you can get the original set and the original box and everything in this, but then they've also added all new bad guys and areas that you can go to in this game. So if you don't know the original campaign, which we went ahead and backed, basically this is talking about the final girl in a horror movie. And
you're the sole survivor, essentially, or you're the person that has to defeat whatever the baddie is.
Yeah, you have to run through and defeat the ultimate bad guy in this horror movie-esque thing. And either you defeat the bad guy and you win, or the bad guy comes and murderizes you, and then it's game over, man. So, like, that is the entirety of this, but they have broken it down into this really cool system here, where you have a core box that you purchase that has all your little bits in it that you need for the majority of the game. And then you get to purchase boxes based upon the sort of characters or sort of horror theme that you want to play on this. So if you want to play with the big bad wolf, like right here, then you can go ahead and do that. Or if you want to play with the poltergeist and play that sort of horror movie, you can do that as well. Or if you want to go ahead and find the big bad wolf in the haunted house of which was the poltergeist, You can also do that and combine those together as well, because you get to pick the bad guy and you get to pick the house or the place.
Like the location, the
squish
bad
them
guy.
Together.
The modality is that you can pick which final girl you want to play, which location, and then like which bad guy typically. And so between those options, you can really make some interesting combinations.
Oh, absolutely. And this is the Series 2 portion of it. So this is tried, tested, and it is... I think the biggest thing in this one here that probably holds a lot of people back is the fact that this is a solo game. It's a good solo game, though, everyone.
It is a good solo game.
You don't have to necessarily, like, play it just by yourself. You know?
We inefficiently played it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, absolutely.
I mean, as Hans, all I did was basically just choose where I wanted to go whenever things were even, instead of having you choose, so it made it harder.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you could definitely play two-player, and it's fun to watch somebody play, because they could die.
Yeah, having somebody else there does keep the bad guy portion of it very honest, because you know that they are specifically going down the path of least resistance to murder you.
Right. And you can
They're very helpful.
The way we kind of did it, like in-house rules, was just that, you know, like I could choose. Like, it says, like, normally it says it can attack the final girl or a survivor. And I was like, I want to attack the final girl's, like, girlfriend, try to kill her, because I knew that would be, like, such a blow to you.
Right, so if you're picking all these different people, yeah, you do that first.
But normally, if you're playing a solo, you just be like, oh, I'm going to have it attack this no-name survivor over here.
You can kind of tweak it if you're playing solo, but if you have somebody there, it keeps you honest, okay? And we did do a playthrough of this on our channel, so if you're interested in checking that out, you can check it out after the stream and see all the shenanigans that happened there. It was, we played Team Hans. Petter was Team Hans, for sure.
Yes. Yes. What I like about this the most, I think, is that you get to choose and pick. So when we bought it the first time, we did the Poltergeist, because we thought, okay, that's a good movie franchise.
Yes.
And it's something that you had a personal connection with, because that was the movie that kind of freaked you out as a kid. And it was unique because you don't just fight. And then, of course, I wanted to have Hans because he was the, you know, he's a big hammer-wielding, iron pig mask-wearing butcher that's running around killing people at camp. So for this, what I think I have realized with this is that I don't need to have it all. I feel like it's kind of one of those things where, like, unmatched, where, yeah, it's fun to have all of unmatched, but realistically, if you laid out all the unmatched characters, I'm going to gravitate towards Deadpool. I'm going to gravitate towards the Raptors. I'm going to gravitate towards very specific characters. I'm not going to really go out of my way to play Little Red Riding Hood or Beowulf. Could they be really good decks? Maybe, but I'd rather be Bruce Lee. Just period. I would just rather be Bruce Lee.
When you're comparing them all, you're like, yeah, we got to be Bruce Lee.
Well, there's just always going to be, it's like they did Robin Hood and Bigfoot, and I was like, that's cool. I played as Bigfoot. I didn't really want to play as Robin Hood, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to play as one of those characters, but if I'm going to play something, I want to play something kind of like fantastical.
Right.
So with this, I think the big thing is just kind of picking the ones that you want. So we have the core box. We have two other boxes. And for this one, I'm going to back it again. But now I'm deciding how I want to back it. And I think for this one, I want to back the Xenomorph one because that's Aliens.
Okay.
That's based off the Aliens franchise, space. And what we decided, actually, which this game brought up a really good conversation that we were having while I was helping her dye her hair, was I don't like horror movies. I do like creature features, though.
Yes.
And I consider Aliens to be a creature feature because it's this unknown mind with unknown objectives. You can't really communicate with it. I don't necessarily like the movies where it's just a person running around trying to stab everybody.
Yeah.
I like it when they're fighting a shark. They're fighting a swarm of bugs. They're fighting like some unknown alien presence that you can't just communicate with. Ghosts are okay, but I don't typically watch a lot of horror movies where it's just like a killer, a serial killer. That's not interesting. People killing people is not as interesting to me as this
crazy
entity,
epic creature that is roaming through the halls,
that you can't
coming after you.
That you don't know its objective.
That you can't be like, stop.
Right, you can't be like, I'll pay you to stop murdering me. Like, you can't talk to one of those things, right? That's the whole idea. There's no communication, so there's this whole language barrier. The way you think is different. Their objectives are unknown. They look at you like food instead of you looking, because so much so in our society, we look at everything else as below us. It's always interesting whenever like there's an animal above you and you're like, oh, I'm not the top of the food chain. This is a problem. I always think that's interesting. And so with this, you can kind of do that and pick the style of horror movies you like.
Comments-wise, Patrick says, I'm so intrigued to try this sometime, but then again, the solo issue and not having played it. This is a very cool concept, though. You should go watch the playthrough on that, Patrick, because it was So much fun. I'll talk about that here in just a second with the playthrough, because there were some really interesting aspects that they did that I loved with this. So
Kabuki says, big horror fan, loves all the variety. Yeah, because Kabuki watches a lot of horror films. So being able to pick and go, like I mean, obviously I looked right at the Xenomorph one. I'm like, oh, that's Aliens based off of that, right? Like it's a parody or set in that same type of universe. That's always fun when you can look through it. Like I would have picked the carnival, but you really wanted to have...
I wanted to be the poltergeist,
right? The haunting, right?
Absolutely.
So it's kind of nice that you get to pick, but I think that's what's cool about this is that you can pick what you want. You don't have to spend $179. You could spend $20 this time, $20. It's like picking your favorite books, literally.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Or picking your favorite type of movie. You don't have to buy it all. You can piecemeal it.
They did a really good job of making each of these individual little sets, although you're using all these base cards and systems with, okay, you know, I'm walking, I'm running, you know, you're using all these cards from the base system. Okay, I'm going to search this building, I'm going to do this. But then having the individual thing come in and having all these different events play out and having the bad guy act in a completely different way. So the difference between going between this one here, the Hans one, and the Poltergeist is completely different in the way that you're playing, because the Poltergeist, you cannot actually hit in the face.
It's more of an escape, right?
It's more of an escape, and you're wandering through and trying to search for things, and things are happening, and like rooms are getting shut out, and so like a completely different gameplay experience for these, which I think is really, really cool.
Where with Hans, eventually you have to go fight him.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. You absolutely do. And so you're like basically running around trying to beef up and dodge things, and then like we had a girlfriend-boyfriend experience that happened. It was ridiculous in that one.
Yeah,
it was
the first
hilarious.
2 cards you got was one was girlfriend, the next one was boyfriend.
And the next one was my boyfriend. I traveled around with my girlfriend and my boyfriend, and it was awkward for the rest of the game, okay? Mm-hmm. But you have really fun experiences like that are happening.
You found a bow?
Yeah, because you have those tropes that they have for each of these individual games and that they built into that. And it was just so much fun to play. Like, they did such a good job.
Even just with the boyfriend-girlfriend example, like, the boyfriend was willing to stand and fight so that you could get away. And if he died in your space, then you got, like, a bonus.
Yeah.
And then the girlfriend wanted to follow you around more. And
give you a bonus.
But she just gave you a constant bonus.
Right.
Like, the whole
time. But if she died, it was, like, really, really
big
bad.
Negative, right.
Like,
whereas the boyfriend died, really it wasn't as bad. So it's just interesting, those little, and those are, that's not like what we're saying. Those are tropes that are in these horror type of movies where the boyfriend's like, get out of here, I'll save you, right? So it was very interesting to see how they played that out in the actual cards.
There is a way to go ahead and also up the game by flipping over the bad guy board and making that portion of it harder for you. So if you find, you have an example that's too easy, you can do that. I love the fact that you can put all these together so you can have different things in different places. Like, going into this, I was so excited for Final Girl in the original campaign, and like, I think they just did a really good job. Like, Van Ryder Games does a really good job.
They do.
I'm really
they do a really good job with anything lore-wise, for sure. They also, if you do want to go all in on something like this, they have some really cool upgrades, like the big VCR box that's going to hold everything and different things like that. But I do like that you can go through and piecemeal, because we talked about potentially getting miniatures. This time they're going to add, remember when I played it, I had gotten a boat that let me go from shore to shore during Happy Trails. They actually have where you can buy vehicle miniatures, and you would actually have a boat miniature now.
So fantastic. So Petter says, and there are downloads for when you die to tell the story of how you died, and there is a scenario book. So if you pick Camp Happy Trails and then you pick, the Poltergeist, you get to put those two together, and then you go look in your scenario book and you have a story based on what happened here. Why is this happening in this way? Why is the Poltergeist running around the camp? Like, you get to read that before you actually get to play. And they have it for every combination there. And I thought that was really, really awesome, because it brings in the feeling and fun that you're supposed to be experiencing in this, And
I like that when you do get this piecemeal, you go a la carte and just pick the things that you want. You still get the unlocks for that particular thing. Yes. So if they unlocked a better card or something for... the Xenomorph one, then you would get that also still.
The only thing with this one here, I have to say, is that one, it is solo, but like I said, it doesn't mean that you have to play solo. You can always have somebody else there, basically utilizing the bad guy in the best way possible, or house rule yourself, making sure that you play the bad guy as bad as possible in this game. And then the second thing is this is incredibly expensive for the vastness of it is. I don't feel like each box is expensive, because each box is like $20, which is like the same as like an unlock game or something.
Or an escape.
or an escape game, which you throw away at that point almost.
But you don't usually buy those in like packs of 6.
Right, exactly. You don't buy those in packs of 6. And that's why it's seemingly so expensive, but not. Does that make sense, everybody?
Yeah. Because you can get the base in like one expansion, and then you're like, it's not that expensive, but it seems like a lot.
Yeah, I have like sticker shock. I'm like, it's so shocking with the price. And then when you really start thinking about it, and like, okay, but I feel like this is like the same thing if you went ahead and just bought an unlock game, and I'm going to have more time spent with this game versus the unlock game, because I only really play those once.
And what's cool about this is you could potentially get the base and like one expansion that you like, and then buy them later. Based off of this campaign, it looks like you could go back and buy them. So if you find like, man, I really played all these, I'm really interested in what this one would add to it, I've heard good things, you can then add that one in and then mix it with what you already have, and it just makes it exponentially more. It's just every little extra bit you add gives you even more replayability. So
Petter says, this reminds me of Time Stories, but more replayable. Yeah.
Because there's not like just a one-time storyline that you can remember and have to go through again.
And there's some really fun stuff in there, because some of the boxes, it's like the bad guys will add event cards as well as like the location. You get to mix all those up, and so like,
so it changes it.
Yeah,
so you
it does change it.
It's
a really unique experience, you know. And then each character, each final girl has a special power, and that changes the game too on how you're gonna affect everything and what you actually end up picking up, because you don't play with all the items in the game. There's only like 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 4, 8, 12. There's only 12 cards, but you have more item cards that you play with for each individual area. So like, you're not going to be always seeing the same exact items that are coming up.
Gotcha.
So your gameplay is going to change based off of what's happening and what you find and what's going on the board.
That makes sense.
I like it. I like it. Chat, are you backing this game? I'm curious. Doctor, would you like to back this?
Yes, but like I said, I think for me, I want to just kind of take the ones that I know I'm most excited about. So I'm most excited about the Xenomorph one, so that's the one I want to back.
It looks like on our Discord, we have Petter, who is backing this. We have Mr. Sinister as well. They're also backing this here from our poll on Discord. Like, yeah, this was an insta-back. Wow, look at that box. The box looks so cool.
Oh, yeah, it does look cool.
It takes up a whole cube. Oh, my gosh.
Right.
Oh, my goodness. But that box is so cool. Look at that.
Is there a particular one that you're most interested in for this series?
That's tough. You know, I don't feel like I've looked enough
at the specific ones.
I feel like the Alien one is definitely like,
duh.
Yeah, like you have to play it. And Glory Mom, you absolutely have to play this game. I think that it is totally in your wheelhouse, and you would love to play it. It's super cute. Like, it's so adorable and just so
super
so
cute
fun.
Death.
Super cute murderizing. So cute. So cute when you murderize this way.
And Kabuki is getting more and more of it because Kabuki loves it. Petter's grabbing it. I think Petter bought the season 1 already or something, like off a miniature market or something like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, gosh, there's just so many good ones. All right, I'm gonna go back up and look really quick. Hold on.
And thank you for subscribing, Pedro. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. So yeah, Madness. This was the other one I was looking at right here, the Asylum.
Okay, I thought that one.
100% down with spooky asylum stuff. Yeah.
Well, there is the double feature that lets you pick 2, which is just $40. I mean, it's the same. And then you can add miniatures, the boat miniatures,
Big Bad Wolf,
all the different things.
Okay about.
I'm least excited about that one.
This one here's definitely got that
oh, it's creepy.
Stranger Things sort of vibe to it.
No.
Or Kids with Bikes sort of thing.
No, what this is like The Purge or the Degenerates.
No.
It's very much a...
No, we're passing that one.
It's very much like a hillbilly,
so spooky.
Hillbilly clan busting into your house, killing everybody type of
situation. The other one here, like the organism, I would be interested in, is primarily because I want the areas.
Okay.
I want the areas Arctic. For sure, yeah. Because there's nothing scarier than being trapped like out in the middle of nowhere and you can't go anywhere. You're like, okay, I get to go outside and die, or I can be inside and die.
Well, that's what's so
outside
scary about...
die, inside die.
That's what's so scary about a movie where they get stuck somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Like something like 47 meters down. The only thing that made the thing scary was that they were stuck in a shark cage at the bottom. Where are they going to swim to? Nowhere. Right? You're in there. You're done. Like,
figure it out.
I guess just unplug your mask and just boom. You're done.
Petter says he's buying feature boxes piecemeal off the retail site.
There you go. I think Last House on the Left. Yeah, it's funny because we've seen a lot of these movies, but I wouldn't say we're horror movie fans because we don't go out of our way to see them. But we have seen that one. I've seen that movie too.
Oh, that one gives me The Hills Have Eyes vibes.
It's very much a yes. I think definitely goes along that route where it's like people attacking you in your home.
It might be too where I pick up like one more from season 1 too, because I feel like I liked some of the ones in season 1 too, but since we were on the fence about getting them, we were like, okay, well, we'll try it out because we don't know, you know, if we're gonna like it or not, because we don't play a bunch of solo games. Like we've played more this last year, I think, than we've ever played.
Well, you were just like 80% more likely to play a solo game than I am.
Yeah.
Because to be fair, I have a PlayStation with like, I don't know, not like a ridiculous amount, but I probably have like 10.
Analog sometimes, everyone.
Right. I get you get new games with the PlayStation Plus. And so I've got like, I don't know, probably like 30 games on there that I've gotten that I haven't played because they were free. And some of them I'm interested in. So it's like, if we have that free time, usually if we have free time, we're playing together.
How dare you?
Okay.
All right. So, final choice between all of the games that we've had here today, Doctor. What game would you spend your burrito money on for the week? Chat, what game are you backing this week? Even if we didn't mention it here, I want to know what you're backing. And we got to make some decisions. We got to make some decisions.
Yeah, this is tough because I think number one, burrito, I think it's got to be CoLab. Because I feel like that one, that the theme is cool. I feel like it's going to be a medium to high level complexity worker placement game. Not something like a Euro style worker placement game where it's like very complex, but it's going to have complexity in what you're doing because of the engine building and the way you're picking up and putting down things. So I think CoLab, and I think it's going to be easiest to play because people are going to see the cute cards and want to play it. A lot of our friends play those medium weight games. I feel like that's the one I'm going to play the most out of all of these. Okay.
My final choice is CoLab. CoLab as well.
Really?
Yeah, it is. It really is. When I was saying I was really excited about that game, I was not joking. I didn't want to like give it away so early in the stream, but like I am so excited about how that game is played.
It's cutesy horror instead of all these other horror games. Which is this October? We just have Necromancers, Final Girl, CoLab, Mad Scientist.
It's coming out of the winter.
Skytear, hordes of people coming to like murder you in your castle.
You're shedding all the evils of the winter.
Or embracing them.
No, yeah, CoLab had so many fun things going on in it. I was just like blown away by, usually at a game I can look at it and be like, okay, this is probably how I'm going to do my strategy. But this one I'm like, no, there's no way to predict my strategy until I start seeing everything come out. And then as things are maneuvering on the board, then I'm going to change my strategy. And that was so exciting for me just looking at that. I was like, no, this is going to be amazing because this is going to be like this engine building sort of stuff. Plus, you know, over here and building this up for everybody. Like, it's going to be so interesting. Oh, thank you so much, Best of Star Trek. Yes, purple hair. So, yeah, for me, absolutely. CoLab.
All right, well, cool.
Kabuki says, Final Girl Battle Cry says, save your money for Marvel Zombies.
I don't know what saving money is.
Petter says 100% Final Girl on that there.
But, like, I think, to be fair, we're going to end up backing at least one, if not two, on Final Girl anyway. So it's tough. I feel like sometimes those don't go as high because we've already backed them once. So, like, whenever it kind of comes up with, like, a big expansion or Series 2, it's like a duh. Like, whenever we had Super Fantasy Brawl came up, it was like, yeah, we're going to back this. But it wasn't the same level of excitement. Like, we're excited to play it, but it wasn't like, this is my #1 pick of the week. Because, like, we've already backed it. Of course, we know.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a done deal.
So, what pledge for CoLab? Minis or stand? Minis for CoLab, everyone.
If I'm going to have to go pick something up and bring it in, I want it to be a mini. I don't want to be balancing a die on top of a bunch of cardboard pieces like this and hoping they don't just fall apart and be like, oh, man, I want it to be the actual miniature for the minions.
Yeah,
just because
definitely.
Of that. If it was just for the player characters, I'd be fine. But specifically because of those minions.
Because those minis. All right, everyone. If you are new to the channel, make sure to give this video a like. Subscribe to the channel. Hang out with us on our Discord disco party.
Come to the poll where it seems like on the poll, everybody says Rise of Necromancers.
Oh, so many votes more. So many more votes for Rise of the Necromancers came on here. Oh, this is exciting. This is exciting. Okay, let's see here. How can Land versus Sea be considered to be the best games at Gen Con?
One of them? I don't know.
Ooh, I don't know.
I haven't played that one, I'm
not for sure.
I think I played Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, and I played another one that was a war one that I played. And I think that was just Land, Air, and Sea. But it wasn't that one. There's like 3 games that have Land, Air, and Sea in them, in their names, and it's very confusing.
That's true. Other than that, everyone, we will see all of you next week. We'll be playing games, possibly doing more Kickstarters if we have plenty of Kickstarters to do. And I think that's about it. Anything else? Anything else you want to tell everybody?
No.
We heart you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Bye.